In the late winter, Prince Albrecht returned to Zurin, having escaped captivity in Manarth. The government of Marshal Wotan Ritter immediately collapsed, and Albrecht was restored to power. These events are inexplicable, yet they occurred. Crimsonia, Westthweba, and Trentus all objected to this abrupt change of government. The removal of Albrecht from power was one of the vital conditions of the peace treaty. Westthweba began mobilizing, moving forces to the frontier, eager to avenge the assassination of their beloved Merceviers. Trentus called its remaining army into the field and marched them towards Scutsburg. Crimsonia took no military action as their army and Citizen General Blackcheddar were elsewhere. Albrecht appealed to the neighbouring powers for peace, while mustering Zurin's own army and ordering it to march towards Scutsburg. His plan, such as it was, is to knock Trentus out in a decisive blow, before returning home to handle Westthweba. In early spring, the Zurinese army crosses the border and enters Trentish territory. The Trentish are defending Scutsburg in the nearby crossing and building earthworks. Leaving his only cavalry brigade behind to create dust clouds and the illusion of great forces, Albrecht marches south and crosses the river Scuts at a point defended only by Trentish cavalry. The Trentish cavalry move out of the way and allow the Zurinese to cross without a fight. The cavalry ride south and take up position behind the Zurinese columns. Rather than march directly to Scutsburg, Albrecht decides to march west and come at the city from behind. The next day, Zurinese scouts report a brigade of Dunbaran cavalry shadowing them between the army and Scutsburg. Unknown to Albrecht, the Trentish have hired Dunbaran mercenaries. They are unloading in Scutsburg harbour at this same time. Albrecht is undeterred, and over the next few days marches around the Trentish army and back towards the city. The Zurinese cavalry is left on the far bank of the river, and the Trentish and Dunbaran cavalry have cut Albrecht's supply lines and route of retreat. The Zurinese army approaches Scutsburg from the west. The Trentish and Dunbaran forces are waiting for them, having the city and the port to provide supplies. Albrecht marches to the city, with no cavalry to scout, but an enterprising colonel rides ahead and is the first Zurinese to see the enemy infantry and guns lined up on the road, blocking further march towards Scutsburg. At about 1 p.m, Albrecht is informed that his army is massively outnumbered and orders his brigades to form a defensive position on a nearby hill. And then, nothing happens for a few hours. The Trentish and Dunbaran stand and watch the Zurinese form up on their hill. A few couriers ride back and forth, with both sides calling on the other to surrender. All the while, Dunbaran cavalry makes its way to the Zurinese rear and fall on exposed baggage wagons. Albrecht orders his army to march away, but it is too late. Half of the supply wagons have been captured, and the Trentish right wing is advancing. The Zurinese are trapped and must fight. The rest of the Trentish and Dunbaran infantry move forward, and the artillery on both sides begins to fire. Then the allied cavalry moves towards the Zurinese rear to cause havoc. A Dunbaran attack in the centre is driven back by fierce Zurinese fire, but it is on the flanks that the Trentish have superior numbers. Albrecht orders his left to charge forward, hoping to smash the Trentish right. The prince watches as his guards lead the assault and break a Trentish brigade, but then an almost spent cannonball strikes Albrecht and knocks him from his mount. The prince is insensible and out of action for the rest of the battle. On the right, the Trentish counterattack across the stream. It is costly, but succeeds in breaking 2 Zurinese brigades. On the left, the assault on the hill is driven back. 2 Trentish brigades are shattered, and others disrupted. But the Trentish guards have crossed the stream on the right, and now charge up the hill, smashing through exhausted regulars and capturing the Zurinese guns. The remaining Zurinese forces recognize the battle is lost, and surrender. Prince Albrecht is found unconscious on the field and taken into captivity. The Folly is ended. What happens next has yet to be decided, since the current Maustrian Wars campaign ended at this point. When we resume sometime in 2025 or 26, we will see what becomes of the tiresome tin pot dictator that is Albrecht of Zurin. But these campaign videos have not yet ended, because there are armies manoeuvring in the centre of Maustria, near the vital city of Milberkäse, and when the guns cease, Maustria will no longer be divided.